Alrighty, hello every folks, good morning, afternoon, whatever it may happen to be in your neck of the woods, and welcome to a quick little breakdown of Night of Lotus, Somebody to Love. So this is actually a follow-up to the video from last week where I was talking about how, well, the ReadMe had basically disappeared, and I was trying to describe what little I remembered of the mod in order to at least provide some kind of context for what it actually does and why you should give it a try. And so to that end, I want to point out that, yeah, a channel member actually reached out. They had a version of the ReadMe laying around, as well as a saved archived version that seems to be shorter for whatever reason. But either way, I will include links to both in the description, and let's go ahead and get started here. So, first of all, battles. Enemy levels in story battles scale alongside the player. Basically, the idea was to get rid of grind. Enemy units in story battles are better prepared and more likely to use advanced equipment, spells, and/or classes, which we discussed last time. Some enemies may have different starting positions. AI was altered in many ways to be less predictable and more aggressive, which you definitely feel. Next, story, graphics, and characters. Fixed a blatant mistake in dialogue with Barevra, where she mentioned she'd found newborn Eleanor 10 years before the current events. This can't be farther from the truth, as Eleanor was orphaned during the Reformation, which took place 15 years ago. Not to mention she's clearly older than 10 or 11 years old. Yeah, that's a really weird typo. Anyway, whoopsie, accidentally created some really dire implications in the story. Way to go, Atlas. Anyway, all semi-generics now have their own unique color palette to better differentiate themselves from others. For example, Justin and Lara, the two soldiers under Richter's command, appear in quite a number of scenes throughout the game. Now they can be identified among the crowd by their light blue armor. Alphonse's starting class was changed from soldier to knight. Eleanor's starting class was changed from soldier to cleric. She also starts with the arbitration emblem unlocked because clearly she talked Alphonse into switching sides. Unique story characters, Ivana, Shivan, Orson, etc., and semi-generics such as enemy leaders and named units received higher base stats compared with other generics, and you definitely feel that with Orson. I will say that was really always one of those funny things about the vanilla Night of Lotus experience, where like Orson shows up basically at a massive disadvantage against the units that they send him against. I don't know why that was his introduction fight, because they were like, oh yeah, here's this archer, he's terrible against dragons. The enemy team is like 6 dragons. It's like, oh, I see your skills haven't diminished. It's like, he was no help at all. Anyway, moving on. Glycinia has the same set of equipment in all of her appearances. No need to wait until the very end of the game. So, yeah, true. Enemy unit only zombies now have a proper Bane element like all other undead instead of the wind, fire, earth, water they used to have. Honestly, I kind of liked the old elements on zombies, but whatever. So, shops. Multiplayer and Route AB exclusive spells and equipment can be found in the main campaign, regardless of chosen scenario. Multiplayer, yes. The Route A or B exclusive, I don't know. I don't know if that needed to happen, but whatever. Permanent stat boosters have disappeared as trophies in story battles, with a couple of exceptions, and quest mode, the player can still find them in random battles. I personally would have taken them out of those, but whatever. Story battles yield more gold. Starting from the third chapter shops will start selling heavy armors. Always wondered why they didn't. Fluid armor is no longer available, fluid magic is no longer available for sale. The only instance of the spell can be obtained as a trophy from the witch during a story in Nadja Forest. After the battle in Sotavento in Chapter 2, magic shops will start selling Enfeeble. Instead of orbs, denim shops will be selling spirit fruits, which does make a lot more sense because you never see orbs around, but you do see all of the local inhabitants running around using spirit fruits that previously were rare as hell. The reason for this change is simple. Now that the player has more gold in their hands, the ability to purchase unlimited amounts of items that could cause massive damage to all enemies on the battlefield would destroy any semblance of balance. Orbs can still be obtained as a random reward in quest mode. Yeah, magic leaves, seeds, and salves had their prices doubled. Fixed price description of Angel Fruit, then misspelled the name of Mizal, a character from Ogre Battle, as Mizar. The price of Firecrest has been doubled as well, and the protections it provides have been reduced by a factor of 3. It's still ridiculously good. At the same time, Firecrest now bestows complete status immunity upon its wielder. Firecrest is much harder to get now, as there are only 6 glass pumpkins that exist in the entire game, 2 of which the player can get from secret characters. One is a drop in the optional battle, and the others are buried treasures, which, I mean, that's still fine. As you can still wind up with most of them in the early game. Quest mode rewards were modified. All stat boosters, Neb Shop exclusive wares, and glass pumpkins were removed. As was Dowsing Rod, now it's a guaranteed drop from one of the early battles. Instead, many rare types of equipment and missing breakables were added in their place, and the full list of items are available by rank, and then they have the list of all the ranks that you can get. In general, this just means you'll get more cool stuff when you go and do those. Alright, weapon-wise, all fans have been reduced in weight. Ambition, damage of the sword special ability has been increased, turning it into a slightly weaker version of Clotho. Notos, damage increased to 66. Improved katanas, agility bonuses, and all katanas have been doubled. Their attack rating is now loosely on par with one-handed elemental swords, which is good because they kind of sucked before. The Needle of Light, damage increased to 64, making it a superior weapon compared to the Peridot, and Vanilla both had the same damage. A similar change has been made into a pair of elemental hammers that previously did not differ in damage. The Euros and the Mystic Hammer both had their numbers changed. Mystic also allows the wielder to use Heal Plus. Endgame axes received a slight buff just because. Bloody Cleaver, damage increased to 74. Boreas, damage increased to 72. Now, this is the one that I found interesting. All crossbows have become one-handed, freeing up the second hand for a shield or another weapon. This is actually the same thing the One Vision did. Composite bow, attack range was increased from 7 to 8. The Thalum, in vanilla, Thalum was the only unique crossbow, yet had the same stats as the composite bow. I actually never realized that because of how rare the Thalum was. However, in this hack, its damage has been increased from 44 to 54. Its agility bonus scaled from +1 to +5, but the main change is that its attack range, in the manner of firearms from the original Lucht, Thalum has no range limit and can hit any target regardless of distance. That's pretty freaking cool! Anyway, Longicalness has undergone a significant overhaul. The Sacred Spear is weightless now. Its damage has been increased from 74 to 90. It improves strength, intelligence, and agility by 15, increases all types of resistances by 10%, and grants its wielder immunity to fear. All Snapdragon swords are two-handed now. And this is pretty cool, because, yeah, obviously everybody's constantly being hit by fear when you're in the final fight, using that dang thing, so that's pretty neat. Also, yeah, two-handed Snapdragons make a lot more sense. Not really a whole lot of reason to use the two-handed swords when the Snapdragons were so easy to get a hold of. Spells and Talons. Range of all summoning spells has been reduced from 5 to 3, and their damage reduced from 55 to 50. Heal Plus potency was reduced. Full Heal range was increased. Cheer SP cost went down. Fairy Kiss SP decreased. Basically everything along the board here has been changed. Again, see the ReadMe in the description, because we're not going to go through each individual one here, because the classes are the one that I really wanted to get into here. So, Soldier, the base class where all characters begin with evenly distributed abilities. These characters are quite versatile. Under the notes, fitting for the starter class, soldiers have balanced stat growths in all areas. Dispossessed of any special talents, they have to rely on the might of their steel alone, and that's why their passive perk comes into play, as the more damage a soldier receives, the greater their damage will be. I actually didn't even know this was a mechanic the game had, and sure enough, it ended up working here. On that previous video there that, yeah, Soldier does not get axe specialization. It doesn't have any specializations. Anyway, moving on to the Archers. So, range specialists, Archers have better strength and agility, and they can deal a great deal of damage, especially against larger targets, such as beasts and dragons. It's also worth noting, as far as the requirements go, I believe the requirements actually went down lower than the Ninja. I could be wrong on that, but I think they actually went down. I'm not seeing that in this ReadMe. That's actually one of those interesting kind of things, because the other ReadMe mentions that their agility requirement, I think it went down to like 30 as opposed to 37 at the moment. No clue. Anyway, whatever. Moving on to the Beast Tamer. So, passive perks, +1 morale to all beasts in 3 tiles around. Beasts and dragons do less damage to them, so Beast Tamers possess impressive physical stats all around and good mobility and defense. They are especially resilient against beasts and dragons. Last but not least, Beast Tamers strengthen all allied beasts near them. Requirements for this class became less restrictive, as the unit will lose access to their class. He needs to slay more than 4 beasts instead of just 1. Next, the Dragon Tamer. So basically same thing, but the morale bonus is for dragons. And then, actually, let's see. Going back to those to the previous classes, by the way, there are major and minor recruitment bonuses that are mentioned here. I believe these are mostly the same as vanilla. They just got bumped up a little bit. So, like, soldier has a minor bonus for soldier and nothing else. Archers have a major bonus for soldiers, but a minor bonus for archers and ninjas. So basically, just kind of going up that list of just like, hey, are you familiar or are you under me in the hierarchy? There's that. Somebody like the Beast Tamer has a minor bonus on dragons, or sorry, a minor bonus for giants, but then all beasts get a bonus. For the Dragon Tamer, they get a minor bonus for dragon zombies, and then a major bonus for all the regular dragon types. So, Beast Tamer, female counterpart, whose abilities centered around dragons. They are great fencers, sporting high attack and agility, as well as limited spell usage. Like in case of the Beast Tamer, female units can't be turned into members of this class if they kill more than 4, as opposed to 1. Alright, ninjas. So to compensate for a lack of dual wielding in this game, ninjas deal significantly more damage with their physical attacks. This and improved katanas should prevent them from falling off later in the game. Shuriken Barrage has had its attack rating boosted. They also learn it a couple levels later, otherwise it would make early game ranged weapons obsolete. Let's see. Oh yeah, and as far as their physical attack modifiers go, so this is actually something that not everyone's aware of, but in Knight of Lotus, there's basically modifiers for physical and magical attacks. So, like, soldiers have 100% physical and 50% magical attack modifiers in this case. So, for example, you gave a spell weapon over to a soldier, they would kind of suck with it. Whereas, let's say, an archer has 110% physical attack modifier, but 80% magic. Whereas, let's say, the Beast Tamer has 100% physical and 70% magical. Whereas the Dragon Tamer over here has 110% physical and 95% magical, because they do get their whole missile ability thing. Honestly, the Dragon Tamer is overall quite a decent bit stronger on the ranged attack side, whereas the Beast Tamer is more physical. For Ninja, they get 115 physical and 90% magical. In many ways, you could kind of see it as a sort of, I guess, KOL version of the Brave and Faith system to an extent. Anyways, then we get Wizards. So good old Wizards, now with better intelligence growth to make them stay... Benefits of summer vacation. Anyways, so, where were we here? Oh yeah, clerics. So, some things work just fine. Clerics. Some things work just fine the way they are, and KOL clerics are one of those things. Essential support units. They have better physical stats, but lower int and MP growths compared to wizards. And yeah, physical attack 75%, 110% on magical attack modifiers. Knights, which interestingly enough actually used to be surprisingly good on the whole like magical thing. Anyway. So, let's see. Being a great class as they are, Knights received little to no changes compared to the original. Their ability to resist fear gives them an extra boon against dangerous foes in the later parts of the game, which is just pretty freaking cool. That is a nice little bonus for them. Probably would have maybe limited them to... well, I guess they are pretty limited in terms of how many heals they get. They're fine. Whatever. Anyways, 105% physical, 90% magical. They're fine. So as Swordmasters, as pretty much the best iteration of this class in the Ogre series, the Swordmasters need only slight buffs in certain areas to really shine. Swordmaster int growth has been increased to be on par with Knights and Ninjas, and their special talents deal more damage. So basically like Swallow's Daze and Pelting Fury sounds like they got boosted. 115% physical, 90% magical. And is there anything else here? Notable 15% virtue resistance of all random things, as well as 5% resistance to everything else, interestingly enough. I think the requirements are the same by this point. Not 100% sure. Anyway, whatever. Valkyrie. So, Valkyries received a slight increase to their attack, but overall stayed the same. Proficient in both close range and spell slinging, these well-run fighters provide a morale buff to their male allies. And they are 100% on the modifiers. Seems like everything's more or less the same here. Dragoon, also known as Dragon Slayers. Oh yeah, let's see. Ultimate melee class. Dragoons trade versatility for unmatched strength. Their ability to easily dispatch enemy dragons on limited magic usage is just icing on the cake. Okay, cool. So 110% physical attack, so still 5% less than the Swordmaster. However, let's see. Strength growth 7. Swordmaster's down at 5. So yeah, okay, fair enough. But yeah, 110% physical, 75% magical, doesn't seem like it's changed much. Moving on. Siren, identical to the Wizard in terms of stat growth. Sirens surpass their lower counterparts in attack and defense. Members of this class can can use all attack spells in the game, including summons and previously inaccessible for them, Fiend's Grip. 70% physical, 120% magical. Seems about it. Everything else looks about the same here. Warlocks. So vanilla warlocks lack two important things to be considered a proper fighter-caster hybrid: mobility and sufficient melee capabilities. To rectify this, their mobility was increased to be on par with other melee classes, and their signature Baron Soul ability has been substantially buffed with increased power and decreased MP cost. This should help warlocks to better accommodate to the role of all-purpose war mages they're supposed to be. So they're now 100% physical, 120% magical. Alright, pretty good. Next, Witches. So Witches receive numerous improvements to help them stand out among other classes. Requirements for this class have been lowered. Witches deal more physical damage than before and can become decent bow and crossbow users. Their spell set has been expanded with a variety of Bane spells unavailable to Swordmasters and Warlocks, like Valkyries. Witches also boost morale of all male allies around, and they can still charm their foes. So they're 95% physical, 120% magical, and yeah, I can definitely kind of back this one up already, because yeah, witches are really really darn cozy in this mod. But let's see here. What are their requirements at this point? 28 MP, 35 intelligence. I think their previous requirement was 32 MP, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's a decent bit more doable. I mean, they still require. Do they still require Vixen's Whisper? Yes, they do. I mean, that's really the hard one. That's what she said. Anyway, moving on. Priest, advanced clerics with better resistances and expanded spell list. And invaluable in the late game, priests command high-level virtue to help bring back the dead, expel fear from their comrades, or to smite enemies with holy light. Their ability to ward instant death attacks helps priests to withstand devastating abilities such as Titan Crush and Hell's Gate. Units who committed 25 or more kills and received Reign of Terror emblem can no longer be ordained as a priest. So yeah, they get instant death immunity. I don't think anything else has changed here. Though lots of virtue resistance on these guys and no bane or negative bane resistance. Interesting. Okay, next, Angel Knights. So with each game after the SNES version of Luck, these holy warriors became more and more disappointing. It's high time to restore them to their former glory. Personal opinion on this, I thought they were already pretty freaking good in KOL, but alright. So with great stats, unique skills, ability to fly, and increased morale to all allies around, as well as access to a variety of curative and offensive virtue spells, these heavenly champions became extremely powerful and versatile characters, worthy of all the hoops the player needs to jump through to obtain them. I don't really know how many hoops they necessarily need to jump through, but they definitely need to hop in and out of life and death a decent bit. Anyway, so yeah, requirements are... Did they already have a 215 HP requirement? That's... I didn't realize they had an HP requirement. I mean, usually you just kind of get to end game and you start killing off your units until somebody gets a Archangel's Feather, and then if they're lawful, they just, you know, they come back as an angel. Alright, Liches. Here, let's see. Liches lost a good chunk of their former defenses, yet still reign supreme as the sturdiest unit in the game. Besides a great number of spells at their disposal, Liches possess potent passive perks. The first one strengthens allied undead units around the unit. The second one, a rather clumsy reference to the ability to reflect magic in the PSP remaster of Luck, makes the Lich completely immune to all magic, which is always a double-edged sword. As from now, Liches must rely on consumables, health-draining spells, or regeneration effect from the candy set in order to regain lost health. That is a really freaking cool change. Also, their physical attack modifier is down at 65%, but magical's at 120. And yeah, magic immunity, that's actually a really cool way to do it, because they are not, like, officially undead, but they're also kind of, they're looking pretty undead. So that's a cool way to make it so that healing doesn't work as well for them. Alright, Ghosts. Ghosts can be compared to a soldier who trades some of their attack power for greater defense, ability to teleport, self-revival, and access to a small pool of Bane spells and negative status immunity. Cool. Sorceresses, so this is going to be like Sybil and whatnot. Ultimate Mage, no caster in the game can match sorceresses in terms of spell and might. Previously Sybil's personal class, now Eleanor can also become one if she meets the requirements, and that's going to be a 130% magic attack modifier, but still retaining a 100% physical. Next is the Prelate, a faithful and pious disciple of god Valar. This high-ranking priest is an adept fencer capable of... it's Richter. So, formerly High Priest, serves the role of full-fledged Mage Knight now, supporting his allies in the front lines with spells and steel. Like other priests, prelates have immunity towards instant death attacks. No longer is this Richter's personal class. Alphonse can also become one too if he meets the necessary requirements. And to point this out, apparently they're not on the normal abilities. They're not on the normal class list. Apparently, you have to go into the what classes do you have available menu in the kind of large, I guess, more zoomed out version of your party screen, if you know what I'm talking about. Because you basically can select, hey, how many people do I have of this particular class? And then this allows you to switch somebody to that class. Apparently, you have to use that to switch them, because, I guess the mod didn't have access to UI changing stuff there. And normally, if somebody had a custom class, it just replaced the soldier, more or less. And/or they were locked into one that was already existing. Anyway, so, Summoner. By meticulously researching spells, summoners can call upon the power of many entities, including spirits and demons. They can call all elements and summon spells. Requires pen and the sword. So let's see. Compared to vanilla, Elric's unique class gets higher int, but lower agility growths. He also becomes resistant to charm. The summoner commands considerable magical talents to lay waste, and the summon golem ability to dominate enemy mages and other squishy targets. So 90% physical, 120% magical. And an expanded spell list. Next is a Shaman, so that's going to be Euphre's thing. Outside of her new ability to strengthen undead allies, they stay the same as before, because MP restoration is much harder now, and her energy transfer becomes invaluable. Fair enough. Alright, next is the Witcher, so basically Deneb's unique class there. So they get the same +1 morale thing, 85% physical, 125% magical, and let's see, Super Witch. Deneb enjoys all the perks normal witches have. I think they still have lower physical modifier, if I'm not mistaken. Plus all summons and a couple of non-curative, non-offensive virtue spells, and of course she still has her ever-broken exclusive charm spell. Fair enough. Alright, so then we have Lord. So through great deeds of battle, this knight has proven himself worthy of bearing the mantle of leadership. Unparalleled lancer, he excels in melee combat and spellcasting. Lord can use every type of spell. So exclusive for this hack, Alphonse receives his own unique class. A knight of the highest caliber. Lord sports high attack and defense, resistance to fear, and is the only playable class to use every spell in the game. 105% physical, 100% magical modifier. Basically gets everything, fear immunity, and is specialized in spears, so that's pretty fitting. Alright, moving on. Alright, Hawkmen, it doesn't look like they changed Hawkmen much. They just talk about how useful they are. Mermaids, after their underwhelming performance in the vanilla game, mermaids find themselves in dire need of improvement. Yeah, you don't say. Now they have stats befitting their role as a spear fighter, increased attack and defense, and more importantly, better mobility. Their ability Cheer is more cost-effective now. Mermaids also get an additional ability, Summon Tempest, which hampers indirect attacks and can cause flooding on certain maps, which benefits mermaids greatly. That is really freaking cool. So yeah, cool. They can actually make it flood so that they have a terrain advantage instead of getting their ass kicked every time that the ground is not, completely soaked. Alright, fairies. Fairies learn their abilities faster than before, and the abilities themselves became better. Their mobility has been upgraded as well. Treat them akin to dancers from the Fire Emblem series, and these little pixies may find a permanent spot in your squad. One thing I learned from the fairy-only run is that they can be OP as hell, so they're even better now. Alright, giants. Let's see what they did with this one. There was one major flaw that renders vanilla giants almost useless. Their atrocious agility. And yeah, not even kidding, you could just load them up with agility armlets and it wouldn't matter. That flaw has been somewhat fixed, and they land their hits slightly more accurate now. At the same time, giants are still highly vulnerable to magic. This remains unaltered. I feel like they could have addressed a lot of issues with the giant by making their rock throw ability count as a ranged attack for the purposes of unlocking the sniper emblem. Just saying. I'm surprised that never came up. Anyway. Gremlin. What can I say? These are annoying little imps, and they strike harder, fly faster, and their improved abilities cause even more mayhem than before. Alright, fair enough. Gorgons. Let's see, similar to mermaids, Gorgons have received increased attack, agility, and mobility, making them much more competent fighters, although their true strength lies in their unique ability. One cast of Evil Eye can turn the tide of an entire fight, though it shan't come as a surprise that Gorgons are immune to all the effects of petrification. Alright. Let's see. Lesser Demons basically became a Terror Knight from the SNES version. Let's see. Not much change with the Thunder Dragon. Fire Dragon still confuses. Earth Dragon still poisons. Blue Dragon still does the sleepies. Mushu's move unhindered through snow. Alright, I think that's new. I think the moving through snow thing is new. Naga, let's see, highest attack and defense in of all dragon species. Let's see, are considerably efficient in combat against magical beasts and other dragons. Their resistance to all elements. Let's see, Vritra, third strongest. Gain their ability to intimidate foes, lowering morale. So basically the similar thing to the lesser demon there. Yep. And I gotta get going. So that will be about that. There's more things here. I guess the last one I want to take a look at it here is the Griffin. Let's see, magical beast with average by monster standard stats with their mobility increased. These skyborn creatures can utilize hit and run tactics with little effort. Griffins are resistant to Wind and Virtue, but weak to Earth and Bane. They got no passives. They got no... That's weird. So I wonder if they actually changed the modifiers, like if they actually did change anything, because I was told last time, part of the reason that Griffin sucked so hard during the Griffin-only run was the whole magic attack modifier thing, and they have 110, 100% physical magical modifiers, so maybe they fixed them? Because, yeah, hit and run doesn't really work particularly well when everybody gets a turn, so hopefully they're better now. Hopefully. Here, what's their movement? Base movement is still 5. What? I mean, Cerberus gets more movement than the Griffin, so, like, what is that? Huh. Kind of an oversight there. Whatever. Anyways, let's see. Octopus improved in pretty much every way. It's become more viable on land and unmatched in water. Highest HP of all classes. Almost non-existent in intelligence and magic defense. Octopi are resistant to water but weak to fire. Fair enough. And alright, that's about it. So I gotta get going. So y'all have yourselves a good one. Again, link in the description for this whole thing. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Alright, take care. Bye.